Welcome everybody to Amplify Nat Sci, celebrating Black History Month. My name is Diana Bello de Ocampo. I'm a faculty member in the College of Natural Science. Amplify Nat Sci was launched this fall to honor and recognize different voices from the Nat Sci community. We are pleased to host our alumni and students for this month's event, celebrating Black History Month. Now I would like to introduce Dr. Philip Duxbury, Dean of Nat Sci, for his welcome remarks.
Thank you, Diana, and welcome everybody. It's great to have you here, and I feel great about celebrating Black history and celebrating our Black community. I think it's really important for us to think about the contributions of all parts of our community, as we need all parts of our communities to contribute to the success of our college. Diversity is important. Everybody realizes that, I think, and it's becoming more and more important. And I think we have to realize as a community that we have to educate our students, our faculty, and our staff to realize just how important diversity, equity, and inclusion is. And even at the most fundamental level of training our students, if they're going to go out into the workforce these days, their success will be greater if they understand what diversity, equity, and inclusion is. A lot of the teams that are in industry working on the hard problems of today are diverse. And so we have to train our students to realize that and participate fully. And we have to celebrate the history that has not been celebrated as much as it needs to be celebrated. And so Black history is an area where not only Nat Sci, but the broader community needs to understand what has happened in the past, and in particular to celebrate the successes and the things that are challenges from the past that we have to understand, appreciate, acknowledge, and respond to. So these are challenges that I want to help our community work on. And I feel pretty positive about the directions the university is going in this area and the college is going. And I have to acknowledge the great work that's been done by the people participating in our strategic planning exercise. We took 2.5 years to get where we are. And in the next couple of days, we will publish our strategic plan. And we're also working on implementation so that our strategic plan doesn't sit on a shelf for the next couple of years and then get enough dust to fall into the trash can. So we're going to have an implementation plan. We're going to have metrics. We're going to keep track of those metrics and make sure that we work towards the goals and metrics that we have identified. So our first priority, we have 6 priorities in our strategic plan, and the first one is DEI. And within that context, we have some specific metrics. We want to diversify our student body, our tenure stream faculty, and we've got started on that. We're planning to start diversifying or doubling the Charles Drew Science Scholars Program, which is a really great program in the college. And the university has also started a program to help diversify the tenure stream faculty cohort. And Nat Sci has won 4 positions from the Provost's office to help diversify our faculty. To achieve that goal, we have to have a lot of processes and procedures in place. And so we have to ensure that what we do in our search processes, our hiring, our promotion, our acknowledgements, have to be fully appreciative of the ways in which people contribute to our community. So I just wanted to read out what our first priority in our strategic plan is. Priority 1 is around DEI, and its statement is grow and support a welcoming, diverse Nat Sci community that empowers the best outcomes for all, regardless of role, identity, or ability status. My own feeling about diversity is really, it's something I want to celebrate. I think that there's so many wonderful things about different communities we have that we should have a celebration about that whenever we can. And this month is I think, a celebration of Black history. And there's so many wonderful things about Black history and the contributions that have been made in a wide variety of areas, but including in science. And we have, I just wrote down, thinking about the people I've run across in the last 6 months to a year that are Black graduates from our college. One is Ms. Rita Dandridge, who is a graduate from our math program. And she's on my Dean's Board of Advisors, and she gives us great advice, and she's very knowledgeable and wonderful to work with. Last year, we had a winner of the Distinguished Alumni Award. Dr. Delano Merriweather. And if you haven't heard about this Dr. Merriweather, it's a wonderful history. I had not heard about him prior to meeting him. He's I think 78 now, so he's quite senior. And Ariel was at the meeting we had. We had dinner with him and a couple of other people at the Kellogg Center. And hearing his stories were just truly amazing. He was the first Black doctor graduating from Duke Medical School. And he told some of the stories about what it was like to go through that experience. And I think, James, you were there at one of the dinners, and he was quite fierce on James, demanding that James get activated, get participating and pushing forward the cause of diversity, equity, and inclusion. But Dr. Merriweather ended up graduating from Duke and going to South Africa and working on things to do with HIV. He then worked on the liberation of Nelson Mandela campaign, came back to the US, and he was recruited by Washington to work on the swine flu epidemic. And at this event, it was amazing. We had a bunch of people come in with Sports Illustrated magazines asking Dr. Merriweather to sign them. And it turns out he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated because he was the champion sprinter while he did all these other things. So it was just amazing meeting him. Another person that we have on our Dean's Board of Advisors is Ethel Cormier. She's a graduate from MMG in that side, and she's got a great deal of knowledge. She worked in the private sector in Procter & Gamble, and she had a great deal of advice about how to make sure things work smoothly and make the change we want to make in an effective manner. And next year, the Distinguished Alumni Award is going to go to Dr. Ron Goldsberry, who is a graduate from the chemistry department, and he's currently a vice president at Ford Motor Company. And it'll be wonderful to meet him. And there are lots of others, I'm sure. And if you know of famous graduates, and I think there's probably some on this call that are on their way to the similar levels of the four I've mentioned here. So it's just wonderful to see that success. So I think that the things that we're working on within the college include the diversification of our faculty, staff, and students. But as everybody realizes, inclusion and belonging are the first step. And I think events like this really help participation, and hearing from people outside our own communities really helps us understand and get educated. We have to do other things. We have to figure out how to put inclusive language and messaging into our curricula and learning environments. That's something we want to work on more. We really have started that, but we've got more to do. And I want to thank Kendra for taking the lead on the cultural competency efforts, which are ongoing, and we want to keep working on those. And we had Amber Benton, who was working, Dr. Benton, who was working on education ideas, and I think we'll keep working on those too. So there's lots we have to do, but we're fully engaged, and I'm looking forward to making progress over the coming year. So with that, I'll stop, and I really look forward to hearing from the panel.
Thank you so much for those remarks, Dean Duxbury. We're really pleased to have you here with us at the event, and also appreciate you sharing some of the priorities, the strategic priorities the college is taking. I wanted to next do the land acknowledgement. We collectively acknowledge that Michigan State University occupies the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of the Anishinaabe, Three Fires Confederacy of Ojibwa, Odawa, and Potawatomi peoples. In particular, the university resides on land ceded in the 1819 Treaty of Saginaw. We recognize, support, and advocate for the sovereignty of Michigan's 12 federally recognized Indian nations, for historic Indigenous communities in Michigan, for Indigenous individuals and communities who live here now, and for those who were forcibly removed from their homelands. By offering this land acknowledgement, we affirm Indigenous sovereignty and will work to hold Michigan State University more accountable to the needs of American Indian and Indigenous peoples. And now I would like to turn it over to Ariel Robbins, who will be giving a brief history of Black History Month.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ariel Robbins, and I am with the Drew Scholars Program. During the month of February, we honor the contributions and sacrifices of African Americans who have helped shape our nation by celebrating the rich cultural heritage, triumphs, and adversities that are indelible parts of our country's history. Black History Month originated in 1926 as Negro History Week, an annual celebration held every second week of February which was chosen by founders Carter G. Woodson, the father of Black history, and the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, primarily because that span of time held both birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass and thought to be a fitting way of commemorating the Black past. Across the country, schools and communities began holding commemorations, and in the following decades, mayors began issuing yearly proclamations recognizing the Negro History Week. By the late 1960s, the idea gained acceptance, thanks in part to the Civil Rights Movement and growing awareness of Black identity. Negro History Week evolved into Black History Month. 50 years after its first celebration, President Gerald R. Ford officially recognized Black History Month during the country's 1976 bicentennial. And since then, every US president has officially designated the month of February as Black History Month. Each year, Woodson's organization, now known as the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, designates a theme for Black History Month. And this year's theme is Black Health and Wellness, to bring focus on medical scholars, healthcare providers, and health outcomes. Since its inception, Black History Month has expanded beyond its initial focus on educational establishments and has taken center stage each February in a variety of communities, cultural institutions, corporations, and media. In proclaiming Black History Month this year, President Biden said that Black history is American history. Black culture is American culture, and Black stories are essential to the ongoing story of America, our thoughts, our struggles, our progress, and our aspirations. Shining a light on Black history today is as important to understanding ourselves and growing stronger as a nation as it has ever been. That is why it is essential that we take time to celebrate the immeasurable contributions of Black Americans. Now I'm introducing our moderators, James Bennett III and Angel Edwards.
Thank you, Ms. Robbins. Hello, everybody. My name is James Bennett III, and I'm a graduating senior majoring in human biology with a minor in business entrepreneurship and innovation. I'm the president and founder of the MSU Undergraduate Student National Dental Association, which is a pre-dental association here on campus with goals to provide guidance and exposure to dentistry, as well as social, academic, and leadership opportunities to its members so that they can cultivate a sense of community while aiming to increase diversity within the field of dentistry. Also, we strive to increase interactions amongst undergraduate and dental students and professionals. I'm also a Charles Drew Science Scholar and have worked closely with the program as a teaching assistant for the freshman seminar and a peer mentor. Additionally, I'm a member of the university's academic grievance, integrity, and appeal hearing boards. In June, I'll be attending the University of Michigan School of Dentistry with aspirations on becoming an orthodontist.
Hello, everyone. My name's Angel Edwards. I'm a graduating senior majoring in chemistry, and I'm an incoming P1 at the University of Michigan College of Pharmacy. I hold membership in the Charles Drew Science Scholars Program and the Honors College. As a member of Drew Scholars, I have also worked as an office assistant and volunteer as a peer mentor. On campus, I serve as an intercultural aide and co-founder of Anna Louise James Minority Pre-Pharmacy Organization. In addition, I hold 2 undergraduate research assistant positions at the University of Michigan and Michigan State University, in which I have gained exposure in both the preclinical and clinical stages of the pharmaceutical field. Simultaneously, I serve as an undergraduate learning assistant through the Department of Chemistry, and I am a licensed COVID-19 vaccinating pharmacy technician. Furthermore, my future career aspirations are to become a clinical researcher working in academia or in the pharmaceutical industry after completing a PharmD PhD in clinical pharmacy and translational science. I would like to focus my research on the advancement of cardiology research for minority patients during clinical trials, as well as combating medical illiteracy in underrepresented communities through drug adherence and awareness.
Now we'd like to introduce our panelists. Bernie Barden III is a third-year medical student at Michigan State University College of Human Medicine, where he's pursuing a career as an anesthesiologist. Bernie is from West Bloomfield, Michigan, on the east side of the state near Detroit. He graduated from MSU in 2019 with a degree in physiology and was also blessed to graduate from MSU as a Drew Scholar. He is in a long-term relationship with his beautiful girlfriend, Amanda, who is also a Charles Drew Scholars alumni and a student at MSU College of Human Medicine. They have 2 playful puppies that are extremely friendly. In his free time, Bernie enjoys watching sports, working out at the gym, and going to social events with his friends and family.
And I would like to introduce Monique Noel. She stems from a proud lineage of Jamaican and Trinidadian ancestry. She's a 6-year doctoral student in the Department of Chemistry at Michigan State University. Her main research focus is computational materials science, in which she is studying surface energies and surface terminations of Zentral phases of calcium-5, magnesium-2, antimony-6, and various cations of the 122 crystal. Last year, her 526 work was published in the first Young Investigator special issue on the Surface Science Journal, and she was invited to give an oral talk at the American Chemical Society Spring 2022 convention. Her early research in computational chemistry led to her acceptance in the first MSU US-China IRES Assure program. She spent 10 weeks at East China Normal University in Shanghai, China, learning various research conducted by international colleagues, as well as learning their culture, values, and traditions. Monique is passionate about true equity in the realm of science for youth and adults in various education, corporate, government, and private entities. Her goals are to use her ingenuity, voice, resources, success to promote the global advancement of underrepresented and marginalized people.
Next, I would like to introduce Dr. Edith Onyeozili, PhD, who is a professor and Fulbright Scholar in the Department of Chemistry at Florida A&M University. Dr. Onyeozili is the principal investigator in the Organic Synthesis and Natural Products Lab. Her current research focuses on investigating African medicinal plants for anti-cancer active compounds and the design and synthesis of small molecular organic compounds with potential medicinal properties. Dr. Onyeozili's educational background includes a Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, a postgraduate diploma of education in education, and a Master of Science in Inorganic and Analytical Chemistry from the University of Nigeria, a Master of Science in Organic Chemistry from Florida A&M University, and a PhD in Organic Chemistry from Michigan State University.
And lastly, I'd like to introduce Dr. Matt Smith. He currently spends his time between a postdoctoral researcher in the entomology department at University of Wisconsin-Madison and a researcher for Google X. Broadly, he is researching how to leverage techniques in AI to create more sustainable human-environment interactions in agriculture. Prior to his current position, Matt was an IA resident at Google X. Matt graduated from Harvard's Molecules, Cells, and Organisms PhD program in early 2020 after completing his studies on how individuality and behavior is reflected in the brain. While there, he was active in groups to create more inclusive spaces for those underrepresented in science, including board member of Minority Biomedical Students at Harvard, MBSH, mentoring for Genes in Space, and co-creating an introductory coding course for visiting summer students. Matt started his journey in science at Michigan State, graduating with a Bachelor's of Science in Biochemistry, and was the first introduced to research through the MSU Increasing Diversity and Education Access to Sciences IDEAS program. And we're going to go ahead and transition into some of the questions that we have for the panelists. But to start off, we'd like to thank all of our panelists for being here tonight, and everyone can answer the questions as they do see fit. So the first question that we do have for the panelists this evening is going to be, how did you decide to pursue an education and a career in STEM?
Yeah, I can tackle that question first. So I was fortunate enough to have both of my older siblings be interested in the field of medicine, and they're really big role models for me growing up. So, just hearing them talk about it and how awesome it was, and seeing them pursue those careers, it piqued my interest in terms of coming into college thinking, okay, this is something I can do. So I came in Michigan State 2015 as a biochemistry major. And I realized right away after taking Biochemistry 101 that was just not for me. I think I just made that my major because it sounded cool and like fancy. So then I did some exploration of different majors that the college had to provide. And that's when I kind of dipped my fingers into physiology and realized that I really enjoy learning about how different organ systems work. And that's what really piqued my interest in medicine, specifically in working with different organ systems in the body. So I think just coming in, to undergrad, or just keeping an open mind about things in terms of career exploration in the STEM field is a good idea, because you never know what you might like.
Good evening. So I'll tackle that question next. Kind of like Bernie, I heard the name chemistry and I thought, this surely will give me money. No, but on a serious note, I took chemistry honors back 10th grade, sophomore year of high school. And I really enjoyed it. I was really good at it. And I find myself I think naturally we all are just drawn to do things that we feel that we're more capable of doing. So I felt really capable of doing that. And so that was the early start. I still wanted to do law in the beginning, so I wasn't quite sure. But as I progressed in my high school career, I actually switched over to full-time dual enrollment. And that was when I really was like, okay, I think I can do this chemistry like seriously. My professor, Dr. Donaldson, he's amazing. He still teaches back at my local community college. And I just stuck with that ever since, how I transgressed into my undergrad and into my PhD, still doing chemistry. I have a passion for science. I love it. I think it's fun. I like how I can intertwine my love for math as well. And I think we can definitely have some more representation here, but love that career trajectory with starting off with chemistry and just sticking to it pretty much since a teenager.
I come from a different culture where things are done a little bit differently. So where I grew up back in Nigeria, you decide what you want to be when you grow up a little early. So even when I was in elementary school, I kind of knew that I wanted to be a scientist. But then that was thinking as a child. But once you get into secondary school, by the time you get to your third year, you know which way you want to go, whether you want to be a scientist, in which case you're science inclined, or whether you want to be art inclined. So you get introduced to general science from your class 1, here we say freshman year. And in the first 2 years of your secondary school career, you learn general science. And then when you get to class 3, you have to declare your inclination, whether you want to pursue art subjects mainly or sciences. Even though whether or not you're pursuing art or science subjects, there is an overlap. Okay, art inclined students have to take at least math and one other science subject, and then science inclined students must take one other art subject. So taking general science in classes 1 and 2 kind of caught my interest, because I developed so much interest in general science, learning about atoms and about matter and about, science in general. So when I got to class 3, when I had to declare my inclination, I declared science because, that's what I always wanted to be. It was always my dream to be in the sciences. However, chemistry wasn't it. I did not dream about being a chemist. I did not think I was going to study chemistry. Every smart kid wants to go to medical school, which was what I wanted to, I wanted to go to medical school. But unfortunately, my cutoff in the entrance exam did not, I was cut off. My score was not high enough to get me into medical school. And then chemistry turns out to be a subject or a major that many students don't want to get into. So they always have very few students. So the kids that don't get into medical school, don't get into pharmacy, they push them into chemistry. That's how they get their quota filled. So my studying chemistry was an accident. It wasn't planned. Well, I did have a choice. The choice was either staying at home for 1 full year to retake the university entrance exam, which is given only once a year, or to accept the chemistry offer and start school. And I didn't want to stay at home for 1 year. So I accepted the offer to study chemistry, and I ended up in chemistry. So it wasn't, well, back home, when I went to school, you didn't have an advisor to advise you on what to do, whether to, the subjects to take, the major to, to focus on. No, you do it all on your own. So, when I grow up, I want to be a scientist, I want to be a doctor, I want to be an astronaut, right? So I never said I was going to be a chemist, but I am a chemist today. So, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, maybe I'll pick up and finish this off. Yeah, so I guess a theme throughout my academic journey has just been uncertainty, and through my whole academic career. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do growing up. I had, the closest thing to a family member in science was I had an uncle in electrical engineering, but I was broadly interested in kind of medical research from my mom having a chronic illness that, I saw pretty much every day. So my thought was, hey, I'll become a doctor and I will come up with a cure for this particular disease. I didn't really know that there were other career paths that can get you to becoming a researcher other than going to medical school. Growing up, I think I did, I had a passion for, chemistry, biology in general. I did okay in those areas. But really it was high school anatomy teacher that I think really supported me and said, hey, if you wanted to go to medical school, you can do it. Got to Michigan State and became a member of the Increasing Diversity in Education Access to Sciences, which I think is something similar to the Drew program. In fact, I know it is, which was giving opportunities to those underrepresented in sciences and giving funding for me to pursue that research and have a position in a lab. This was especially important to me because, I grew up in a bit of financial instability. And that was another reason why I wanted to, pursue an MD, because, that perception of having that financial stability and a little bit of prestige as well. And so going through the IDEAS program supported me. I got to join a lab at Michigan State and experience the world of research, outside of, a purely medical research. So I was doing some biophysics work in plants. Again, that led to me switching careers and kind of, or switching fields, but really preserving this idea of interesting research and asking kind of, questions about neuroscience during my PhD, and now questions about kind of entomology and agriculture in my postdoc. So I'll kind of end it off there.
Thank you so much, panelists. For our next question, it's what advice would you give to Black students who are interested in studying and working in STEM?
Maybe I can kick it off again. So I encourage you to do so, right? There will be bumps along the road, but I think it's worth it if you have a passion for it. I think that one thing that is important is that, how you're feeling in this space, being a Black underrepresented student in STEM, your feelings are valid. And I think being part of an underrepresented group in STEM, often, I feel as in, I don't have as many individuals that share my point of view or my thoughts. Me primarily have gone through predominantly white institutions, right? So me being kind of, very underrepresented in those spaces. And so one thing, and with that comes the feelings like imposter syndrome, feeling like, why am I really meant to be in this space? Again, of course, as we know, being underrepresented in this space. So, again, giving you encouragement, feelings are valid, there's support out there. So I think, what's really critical is finding your community. And for me, that was in, a few different organizations within, the Ideas program at MSU, where I can talk about how I'm feeling with other individuals that are going through similar experiences and validate those feelings. And through graduate school, we had some really phenomenal DEI leaders for the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences. And those individuals, I was able to, share my thoughts and feelings, and they would be able to turn things into action because they were a little bit higher up and had more power than a graduate student. And maybe I'll leave it off there and let others chime in.
Thank you for that, Matthew. What I would say, the advice I would give is really just based upon my own experience, right? And so coming from a historically Black college university, shout out to FAMU, where I studied under the one and only, the illustrious Dr. Oni Ozili here on the panel with us, where Black excellence was not a rarity, where Black excellence wasn't something to be shocked at. I shared a classroom full of chemists that were getting their bachelor's in chemistry. My teachers were mostly African. So from switching from that environment, coming to a PWI, if that is, the student's trajectory, I would very much advise them to mentally prepare. And it's going to sound tough, but mentally prepare for war, whether it's war externally, whether it's war internally. You're going to have to prepare for the fact that there's going to be a lot of people, God's honest truth, that don't think you belong or don't think you can do it. And you're going to have to somehow fight that notion, but even more so, fight any self-doubt you might feel from receiving that type of energy, if that makes sense. Yeah. So that's one type of advice I would give. The next, like Matthew stated, please find your community. Once I started to come out of that self-doubt and that self-fear, I did begin to branch out and find that community, and find people like that look like me. Dr. Clark, I think she's on to, oh man, she went on to another university, but she was great. Find that community. AGAT with Stephen Thomas. Find that community. Your own professors that might be around you. They may not even be of your heritage. Dr. Vaslu that's on here. Lord knows I didn't call her a couple of times like Dr. Vaslu, what's going on? She can attest to that. So it took a lot for me to get there. Yeah, I'm a 6-year doctoral student, and it took a lot for me to feel comfortable to be like, this is not right. Celebrate. If you want to go out, if you're a drinker, have yourself a drink. If you're not, that's okay. You can still go out, celebrate small wins, big wins. Celebrate when you feel like you failed, right? Just try not to get into the sunken place too long, although you will get there because it is reality, yeah? But try not to be there too long, huh? And just do your best to find some type of inner strength and outer strength that can get you through the hard times. But know that the sun is shining and there will be good times too. If I have an attestment to anything, it's that, I don't think we have enough time for me to tell the whole story, but you can get through it. I promise you can get through it. And if you just stick to it, I'm a spiritual person, so I believe that it will all come back full circle. You will be blessed with the things that you have cried for in the nighttime. Yeah. So just stick to it, no matter how tough it may get. And then the blessings start to come. The blessings will start to come. So that would be my advice.
I don't have much more to add. I thought Monique and Matthew put it perfectly, especially just when you're feeling like you can't do it, like really just know that you can, and you're becoming something bigger than yourself, and you're fulfilling, or when you're accomplishing a major in a STEM or pursuing a STEM career, because you're also serving as future mentors and for other African American individuals who want to pursue a similar path as you. So just know that your work will not go unnoticed, and that it will reflect, greatly on the next generations to come. And then just one thing I want to emphasize too is that finding your community is that's a major key, because I came in from day one, had the Charles Drew Science Scholar Program, which is like everyone it lives pretty much in the same door, the same floor. First day you move in, I mean, you're meeting right away Black individuals or individuals from underrepresented communities that want to pursue similar paths as you. So I think that that's just huge, is finding that community, because that community can lift you up and help you accomplish what you want to accomplish.
To the prospective student, I want to say that success in the STEM field depends in large part on making informed decisions. Making informed decisions with regards to the particular STEM major you want to focus on, and making informed decision about the school, the college, or the university that you want to attend. Now, before you pick a STEM major, you have to actually ask yourself, you have to know which subjects interest you the most. I think that's where to start. Which subjects interest you the most? And you want to make sure that science subjects are among those. And then before you select a STEM major, you need to review the curricula for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It is important to review those curricula so that you become aware of the academic expectations before choosing a STEM major. Now, you also need to make an informed decision about the college or the university you want to attend. You have to, be aware of your academic credentials and, what is on the ground at the school. So there are two types of academic credentials. There is the absolute entering academic credentials of the prospective student, and then there is the academic credentials relative to the class. So you want to make sure that you match to the university that you want to go to, because if you're negatively matched, it is going to be a problem. It is also a problem when you're positively matched. Being positively matched is when you're entering academic credentials are above the average of the class. That creates its own problems. However, the one that I think that is more problematic is when you're negatively matched, when you're entering academic credentials are below the average, the average of the class, then it is likely that the student is going to have a problem. So it's important, if necessary, to learn about the median average credentials of your class before deciding whether that school is the best for you. All right, so a lot of times students accept offers of admission to universities without knowing what they're up against until they get there. So it's important to make those decisions. Now, regarding, I'll go back to Monique's comments. My advice to students is have confidence in yourself. Be confident in who you are. Be comfortable in your own skin. Because if you're comfortable in your own skin, you accept your flaws, your shortcomings, your weaknesses, and you realize that those don't define who you are. You recognize your strengths and you try your hardest to maximize your strengths, because those are what need to define you. You don't have to, yes, probably people around you will behave negatively sometimes, or, I don't know the best way to put it, but I think there are battles you don't really need to fight, because if you have to spend your time fighting a lot of battles, you will use the time you will need to do positive things and think about what people think or say about you or how people treat you. I went to school at MSU. Although I am not your typical African American because I didn't grow up in this culture, but I went to school at MSU. I studied chemistry. I refused to look at the color of my skin. I know the color of my skin, but I never ever let that be an issue. What I was concerned about was what I could do, what I knew, how to be my best. Am I achieving the goals I set for myself? Am I doing the things I am supposed to do? And I made sure that I studied hard and that I did well in my courses. I made sure that those people who looked at me somehow never beat me in classes. If I took classes with them, I made sure that I did very well, because then these are things that people look at, not how people look at you, right? It is, what do you have? What can you produce, right? Okay, so I'm very emotional. So my advice would be, wherever you find yourself, whether in a PWI or anywhere, it may be hard, but my advice would be to just forget about the color of your skin, forget about people's negativities, and convince yourself why you are there. Convince yourself that you can do what you came there to do. Convince yourself that you are as good as any other person or even better. And that will help to uplift you, and the world will actually see what you are and what you can do. All right, so that's what I have to contribute to, well, the advice I can give. And okay, again, for those in graduate schools, there are many universities that have good support programs. If they have support programs, be part of those. And then seek out support groups like Monique mentioned. Seek out people that you're comfortable relating to or comfortable talking to. But I promise you that from my experience when I was at MSU, I could talk to anybody. I could talk to everybody. There were times that some people misbehaved. I refuse to accept that they misbehaved because of the color of my skin. I refuse to accept that. I took it that they misbehaved because they were ignorant. And I had no problem addressing those issues if I needed to. If I thought they needed to be addressed, I had no problem addressing them. And life goes on. So I guess that's what I have to say.
Well, I'd like to thank the panelists for being vulnerable to share your personal stories with us, especially your experiences on imposter syndrome. That's very prominent in our community, and that's something I can relate to myself. So I do want to thank you guys for sharing that today. In a transition, I know, Monique, you talked about this a little bit before, but the next question is, how have mentors impacted your current and future endeavors, and how have you served as a mentor to others?
I'll start this one off. Let's see, 7:49. Okay, I'll be brief. How have mentors impacted your current and future endeavors? How have you mentored others? First, how have mentors impacted your current and future endeavors? I would not be where I am if Dr. Onyezili didn't take a chance on me. I literally remember, I'll never forget. I don't know if you remember Dr. Onyezili, but I remember she called me in, she looked up, she said, "Do you want to go to Michigan?" I said, "Michigan? What is that? It's cold." I don't know if you remember Dr. Onyezili, I walked outside, I called my father, I talked to my father. He said, "I mean, why not? What's the worst that can happen?" I was like, "Yeah, I guess that's true. I've just never really, the state of Michigan never really crossed my mind." Of course, growing up in Florida, went back in. I said, "Yes, I'll go." I also like to mention, I think it's important for students to show your professors, even if you're not the most savvy, at least answer questions. I think if I'm to guess why Dr. Onyezili asked me, is because I did, answer questions in her classroom, her organic chemistry classroom. So the first mentor that really truly impacted my life, that took a chance on me when I wasn't even thinking, like, I knew I wanted to get to graduate school. I just never knew how, like I was gonna end up there. And, she took that chance on me. Went to MSU first summer, Dr. Maleshka, who's on here. Shout out to you, Dr. Maleshka. How can I say? They just believed in me, I guess. And it's nice to have people that believe in you. So those are beginning stages. Stephen Thomas in the AGAP community, the Sharp community. So many different people. One of the mentors from the China internship I did in Shanghai, she was such a rock for me. And even after I came back, she always called, "Hey, Monique, how you doing?" "Oh, I'm doing good. I'm doing good." Family. I mean, I have my mother is here. I think dad's in the background. My sisters are here. So even your mentors doesn't necessarily have to be in academia. They could be a family that's there for you when you need them, How have I impacted others? I don't even know where to begin. I impact someone if I walk on the road and I smile at them and ask them how they're doing. Right now, I've given back in so many ways. It's just so much, to even think about. Literally earlier today, I'm a substitute teacher for the Lansing School District. I was just teaching second graders. I am academic. I am teaching. I love my community. And so any way that I can give back in many different ways is just what I try to strive for. I was a mentor for SHOP, Math and Girls Science Day. I mean, panelists for undergraduates. Any type of way that I can, if an opportunity comes across or I seek it out, I always try to give back. And I don't know, that's just something I will continue to do, because in full circle, if it wasn't for Dr. Onyezili, my own professor, taking a chance on me, where would I go? What would I do? I don't know. So that's very important to me to always give back and continue to do so in different manners. It doesn't even have to be strictly academia, whatever, pass somebody on the street, say, "How you doing?" Right? All right.
I'll jump right in here to continue from where Monique stopped. Thank you, Monique. And I thank you for believing in yourself. That's the point I was trying to make. Monique left out the part where she didn't want to go to Michigan State. She conveniently left that part out. Monique was so scared. Monique was scared out of her wait, she didn't want to go to Michigan. Monique, what was it you said? Look at your color. Look at who you are. And you want me to go to a white school? I said, Monique, look at me. What color am I? It was hard. It was hard to convince Monique to go with me to Michigan. Today she will say yes. Tomorrow Monique would kind of backtrack. She will call her parents. At a point I said, you know what, let's go. If you don't like it there, come back. Nobody is gonna hold you. So she convinced herself. I spoke to Monique, I said, have a little faith in yourself. If any other kid, I went with Joel 2012, 2013, I went with Monique. I said, what color is Joel? What is my color? Definitely, maybe inside, but outside is the same thing you are seeing. So I told Monique, it is not about who you are. It is not about the color of your skin. Then Monique had tattoos. Do you still have those tattoos? Yes. So Monique had tattoos. She said she didn't want, when she walked in the hallway, people would be looking at her. I said, Monique, if you walk in the hallway and anybody stops to look at you, they're not looking at you because you're Black. They're looking at the tattoos all over your body. True or false? That's what I told her. That's what they'll be looking at, not at that you're Black. So she agreed to go with me. Now, I want to make a point for mentors. Don't give up on someone. Don't give up on a student simply because they say no or they prove difficult to work with. You don't give up on them. You have to persist. You have to try to convince them that that something positive will come out of whatever you're doing with them. And I thank God that Monique went to Michigan State. The second year she went all by herself. And here she is now trying to, get her PhD. I have another story about I honestly have a track record of working with students and getting them to succeed. I am not blowing my own horn, but it is true. And this is because those students want to work with me, or they wanted to work with me. If you can stop and listen to your mentor, this is for the students now. You have to stop and listen to your mentor. You have to be willing to think about what they are telling you. Even when they come off like they're being strict on you, probably they're being strict on you for a reason. So I worked with a student that wasn't my research student, just a kid I taught in class. But I thought this kid was a troubled kid, and he was. And so I invited him to my office. This kid will wear his pants falling off his bottom, and I'm forgive me. So anyway, I started working with this kid, and I gave him rules. I said, I will work with you, but you gotta go buy a belt. I will go to Goodwill store and buy you a $1 belt. He said he could buy a belt. He could afford a belt. I said, I gave him rules, practically what he had to do. I still have his phone number on my wall, on my office wall, because I had to put it there to check up on him. I made him come to my office twice a week just to make sure that he was on campus. I knew where he had classes. I will go to Jones Hall room 109 and I will peep at the door to see that he was in class. I was like all over this kid. And guess what? One day I said, dream, what is your dream? He said he had no dream. Where he came from, that guys in his neighborhood don't go to college, that he was even doing a lot by going to college. I said, no. What is your dream? He said he would one day like to be a medical doctor. And I said, that you will be. And he said, Dr. Yossi, get out of here. I said, don't tell me that. You gotta say it properly. He said, get out of here. So I said, you gotta go study for MCAT. So I made him a bet. It was like a challenge. This kid went and studied for MCAT. Believe it or not, he got the highest in MCAT that FAMU had recorded in over 5 years. He did. And guess what? I was at Michigan State 2014 when I went with Monique, and my phone rang one evening. I was going back home after work, and it was him, and he was screaming, I got admitted, I got into medical school. He was like over the moon. And not only did he get admitted, this kid was so smart. He graduated the top 3% of his class. He was so good that he became recognized. Right now, he's finished his residency and he's now a medical doctor. He sent me a picture of his car, the home he bought even before when he was with his residency. Now he's doing very well. And again, this is taking a chance on somebody. You don't give up on people. You don't give up. This is for mentors. You don't give up on your students. And for the students, you have to listen to your mentors. When they say go, before you go, you're not my mother, you probably should think about it and go, maybe I should go and ask, why did you even say it that way? Anyway, it is good to take a chance on people. Mentors, don't give up on your students, and students, you gotta listen to your mentors. It is for your own good.
Thank you very much, Dr. Edith. I just wanted to note that it is 8 o'clock. If folks need to leave, we understand that, but I did want to give a chance if Bernie or Matt would like to respond to that last question.
Maybe I'll say something really quick. Thank you both for sharing those. I'll just say, mentors I think are critical, and I've had wonderful mentors, including family, academic mentors. I will say that mentors can, make or break academic trajectory, especially I think at predominantly white institutions for underrepresented folks. And that's why I think in a lot of institutions, it's important to have those checks and balances. If there is a not positive relationship, a channel for students, I guess this is thinking more graduate work, to communicate and proper checks and balances for that relationship to be amended or addressed. And that's all I'll say. But yeah, mentors are critical and so important.
Yeah, and I'll just add that in terms of like giving back, it's really easy to get involved. Monique kind of touched on it, but just doing like the little things, they really do start to add up. And I've had so many of those opportunities just in med school, whether it was mentoring undergrad students who wanted to pursue medicine, or doing some type of volunteering. Like there's an event called Reach Out to Youth down in Grand Rapids, where they bring a bunch of young grade school students from underrepresented areas. And we do like a whole science day with them and show them that people who look like them and talk like them and can relate to them, are accomplished in these areas in the STEM fields and science and all that. And that was like, something I'm very proud of, just being a part of that and seeing that all these young African-American, Asian, underrepresented students are, so engaged and, want to pursue these careers after seeing other students that look like them that are doing the same thing. So just, when you're going through it, your career path, really try to take every opportunity you can to give back, because you were probably, in that same position at some point, and those little things really do make a difference for other individuals as well.
Well, I wanted to extend a huge thank you to our panelists and our moderators for participating in this event tonight, and all the folks that helped plan it, and also to Dean Duxbury for giving the welcoming remarks. Really appreciated everyone's very candid, very vulnerable, very honest candor in sharing your remarks. I really appreciated your feedback for current students. And thank you so much for making this a really amazing event for Black History Month and Amplify NatSci. So thank you very much, everyone.